It was earlier this year, it's March of 2012 for those of you watching in the distant future, that I came across a video by fellow YouTuber ScannerDanner. This was a great video showing how to diagnose something by reading the waveforms on a lab scope. I was impressed. While watching the video, I learned that ScannerDanner was not only an automotive instructor, but an instructor working at the school where I learned my trade, Rosedale Technical Institute. This was interesting news, and I decided not only to reach out to Paul Danner, but also to see if it would be possible to pay a visit to my old school and meet him in person. After getting in contact with the right people, I was able to set up a visit, not only for myself, but also for all of you watching. And this is what I learned. I started my tour at the new location, and one of the first things I noticed when I walked through the door was the engines on stands in the lobby. Years ago, when I walked into Rosedale for the first time, they had engines just like these in the lobby then. In fact, this is one of the engines that I remember from that time. For a gearhead like me, this was a big selling point because I was the guy that had the 351 Windsor engine block for a coffee table in his living room. I felt right at home. Another thing I noticed when I walked through the door was all the pictures of the students, past and present, on the walls. I'd always felt that Rosedale was a place for students, and seeing these photographs really brought it home for me. It made me feel like I was part of something much bigger, and I felt proud to have something in common with these people. From there, I walked into the Director of Admissions office and asked her about all of the signatures on the walls of her office, and she told me that once a student was accepted to Rosedale, they would sign their name on the wall and write their projected date of graduation next to it. I liked this because it represented a real commitment on the part of the person signing the wall. She tells me that even after people graduate, they come back to see if their name is still there, but she admits that she's going to have people start signing the ceiling soon because she's running out of wall space. Another thing I noticed in the new place was the art. Original paintings by a local artist. I really like this because, as some of you know, I went to art school, so for me it's nice to see art and auto mechanics brought together under one roof. I then went down to the new shop area, and I have to say I was impressed. The old school had a lot less space and was not as well lit. It used to be an old ice cream factory after all. But this new shop was spacious and well lit, better than some of the shops I've worked in. I spent some time with the students working in the shop, looking at their projects, listening to their stories, helping out where I could, and I came to find they weren't all that different than me when I started out. It was quite an experience meeting them, the future technicians of the world. This new shop has a clean room where students can go to assemble engines, which is where I found this beauty. I'm sure it will shake the walls with a beautiful noise when they fire it up. From there, I went back to the diesel area and met some more great people working on some very big things. I met Rob Murphy, a diesel instructor that had built a Chevy S10 drag truck with a Ford Powerstroke diesel engine with the help of some of the students. He said it really confused people when he showed up at the track towing it with a Dodge truck. A man after my own heart, really. Why play favorites? Later, I was shown the new diesel shop, not far from the current location, and let's just say it's huge. I'm sure they'll be able to fit plenty into that shop and still have room to spare. The place isn't really finished yet, but I can see a lot of potential there. After visiting with the diesel folks, I went back to the tool room. This is a place where the school loans out tools that you might not have but need to use when you're working out in the shop. And to my surprise, the same tool man was still working there, Tim Waleski. Of course, we called him Tim the Tool Man, a nickname he took in stride and still has to this day. Apparently, he's the longest running Rosedale employee at 35 years. I guess if you work there, you stick around for a while because I also ran into my engine performance and emissions instructor, Dan Svitko, an automotive god to me as well as ScannerDanner. He taught us both everything we know about engine performance and HVAC. It was really great to see that he was still there, and I was happy to get the chance to catch up with him about old times and talk about how things have changed in the industry. From there, I was finally able to meet the man himself, my reason for getting reacquainted with the school in the first place, Paul Danner, aka ScannerDanner. Seriously, this was not staged, but I walked in on him during his workout. It appears that Paul is something of a health nut and likes to work out a few times a week during his lunch hour in their makeshift gym. I felt like a real marshmallow standing next to him, let me tell you. He is every bit as intelligent and friendly as he is in his videos, and it was really great to finally meet him. He graduated 2 years before I did, so we never really crossed paths back when I was in school, but I find it interesting that we both ended up teaching. Him as a professional, me as well. You know what I do. While I was there, we got the chance to shoot a video together on diagnosing a misfire in a Chevy truck, so if you get the chance, check that one out. It's a two-parter, but it's filled with some great information from two different perspectives. It's actually become one of my personal favorites. I was also very happy to once again meet a person that is without a doubt 50% responsible for my automotive education, Kathleen Stein. She was the financial aid director when I went to Rosedale. Without her help, I guarantee you wouldn't have an Eric the Car Guy today. Thank you, Kathleen. In addition to getting reacquainted with these great people from my past, I also had the privilege to meet some new people. It appears Rosedale has expanded the curriculum greatly since I went there 16 years ago, and now they offer classes in business as well as courses in electrical technology and HVAC. And based on what I saw, I almost wanted to go back and take these classes just to check them out for myself. After meeting everyone at the new location, I ended my tour at the old Rosedale location, which is actually across town from the current location. It's now a strip mall, as you can see. I was a little saddened by this, but to be honest, the new place is so much better, and it's nice to see that the place has grown and moved on. Nothing stays the same after all. During my visit, I met a lot of new people and got reacquainted with some old friends and mentors. I can't call my trip anything less than a complete success. Thanks to everyone who made that possible. So now it's time to close this thing out. I learned a lot during my trip back to Pittsburgh and my visit to Rosedale. I learned that things have changed quite a bit, not just at Rosedale and the city where I used to live, but also with me. We've all grown quite a bit and show a lot of promise moving forward. I'm not going to say that you need to go to Rosedale to get your automotive education, but I urge you to get an automotive education should you decide that an automotive career is right for you. Do your homework though. Make sure it's going to be a good fit and then make the commitment. A real commitment. Don't take the decision lightly, it is your future after all. If you do decide to go to Rosedale, however, I can say that you'll find the same friendly, open environment that I experienced when I went there. The place is still full of some very talented instructors and a staff that is eager for you to succeed. I can say without a doubt that if you go there and make the effort, you will walk out the door with way more prospects than you did when you went in, and a career that will provide for you well into the future. I'd like to thank all those that helped make this trip possible, as well as those that helped me get my education at Rosedale. It really did turn my life around and help bring you, the viewer, the knowledge and experience I share in the videos I make for you today. Thank you, Rosedale, thank you, Pittsburgh, and thank you for watching. Be safe, have fun, and of course, stay dirty.